A rich woman calls to confess but mistakenly calls me. I was furious. I'm not Andrew, I yelled. You've got the wrong number. But the woman on the other end didn't care. It doesn't matter who you are. Let me finish talking. I'll transfer you $10,000. Oh, so money makes you right? I muttered. But then I checked my phone. $10,000 had just arrived in my bank account. Well, in that case. Yes, I am Andrew. Please continue. By 3 a.m. the rich woman Betsy was still talking. She rambled on about how she met Andrew for the first time, then their magical moments like swinging together under the snowy mountains. I only managed to stay awake because I was staring at my bank balance, seeing the $10,000 keeping me conscious. Betsy's voice was soft, emotional, and at times she choked up, clearly overwhelmed. If I hadn't met Andrew, she said, I don't think I could have survived. You know, I'm a lonely person, don't you understand? Growing up the only thing I ever had was money. I envy you poor kids. At least you have love. I felt awkward but agreed silently. After all, what she was saying was true. As she continued, I began to drift off. Suddenly another notification, another $10,000 had been transferred to my account. I jolted awake. Yes, exactly. No problem. I blurted out. After a brief silence she asked, do you also think I'm, well, you know, into women? Huh. I thought we were talking about Andrew. Forget it, she sighed, clearly frustrated. My best friend got driven away by all of them, and I've been alone ever since. No friends, nobody. Do you get what that feels like? I do, I mumbled, though my eyelids were heavy. She continued talking, her voice now soft and nostalgic. Andrew, he was different. He was sunshine. The kind of boy who doesn't see me as weird. When my dad would bring women home, Andrew would knock on my window with a toy lion making funny faces to cheer me up. Betsy sighed again. Andrew was so free, like the wind. I could never catch him. Sometimes I think I know him, but then I realize I don't. I don't even know if he loves me. Her tone was heavy and I could tell how much she adored Andrew. I wanted to comfort her, but exhaustion overtook me. When I finally woke up, it was already 7:40 a.m. As I brushed my teeth, I laughed at how real my dream had felt. But when I checked my phone, there was $30,000 sitting in my account. Clearly Betsy had sent another $10,000 while I was asleep. In shock I screamed out, what if she wants the money back? Rushing to school, I barely made it in time and sneaked into the last row. My classmates, noticing my dark circles, teased me about Black Friday sales and asked if I was joining in. Absent-mindedly I agreed. Even with all this money, I couldn't resist a small discount. As the professor's lecture droned on, my mind wandered back to Betsy. How would I ask her to mark the money as a gift to avoid any awkward legal issues? Would she even call me again? Just then the door flung open. I initially thought it was the wind, but then I heard someone whisper, "Wow, so cool." I looked up and was stunned. It was Emily from the finance department, famous for her beauty and cold personality. Everyone knew her, but few dared to speak to her. Last year we had faced each other in a debate and she had completely destroyed me. Seeing her now I felt nervous. She walked past me, her presence cold as ever. The way she carried herself made it seem like no one could approach her. As I looked back at my phone, I saw a message in the group chat from students asking how the Russian class was going. In a sarcastic mood I replied, "Oh, it's great. Russian is super easy, just like your native language." Later that night at 11 p.m. Betsy still hadn't called, but she had sent another $10,000. I immediately called her back. After a brief silence she spoke, "So you've labeled me as a rich woman, huh? Well, you didn't tell me your name," I stammered, trying to sound calm. "Forget it. Let's just go with that." She chuckled. "How was your day?" I quickly replied, "Great. And Andrew, he's amazing too." But before I could ask about the money label, Betsy sighed. "My dad got into a car accident today and I didn't feel a thing. Is that wrong of me?" "No," I responded quickly. "With so many other people in his life, does it matter if you don't feel anything?" "You're right," she said, her voice softening as if the weight had lifted. We continued chatting, and for the first time I felt like we might actually be friends. But then she laughed and said, "Tell me about your life, Andrew." I hesitated. "If I tell you everything, won't that ruin the mystery?" "You're not Andrew," she teased. It was a strange relationship. One moment I was Andrew and the next she reminded me that I wasn't. I shared a story about how I rose from the bottom of my class in high school to becoming the top student and how proud I was of that achievement. But then there was silence. She had fallen asleep. The next morning I was once again exhausted from the late night calls. My classmate David teased me, saying, "You're staying up all night again, huh?" "Nope," I said, clutching my phone with $50,000 in my account. "I'm just working hard." The day of the debate I was filled with anxiety. As we drew lots I prayed not to face the finance department again, especially not Emily. Luckily we didn't. After class I went to lunch with David and we rushed to get food. But in my haste I bumped into someone spilling food everywhere. Looking up I realized it was Emily. "Crap," I muttered, "of all people." She didn't say much and just got back in line. Embarrassed I cleaned up the mess and later paid for her meal, trying to avoid further humiliation. As the day went on I couldn't shake the feeling of being caught between two worlds, one where I was an ordinary student and the other where I was Andrew, the confidant of a lonely rich woman. Late that night Betsy called again, transferring another $50,000 with a note, "For you to spend however you like." I stared at the amount too stunned to speak. All I could think was Betsy, you are my goddess. But as our strange transactional friendship grew I couldn't help but wonder, how much longer could I keep pretending to be someone else?